and gentlemen, I am happy to be here today. I was not able last year to join with my voice or a video presentation on the legacy, tribute, and reflection of Dr. King as he celebrated a birthday. And today is the 19th of January 2026, and I determined not to let this opportunity pass without saying a few words, adding my voice to the chorus of voices on the World Wide Web and elsewhere that celebrate and honor Dr. King, commemorate and memorialize his life. So ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls and others, please allow me to share a few words, and I jotted down some of my remarks so that I don't go off track and start a discussion about some other spin or some other avenue of discourse. So allow me to take just a few minutes of your time to address you on this prestigious and momentous occasion, the opportunity to deliver an abbreviated tribute and reflection on Dr. Martin Luther King, Jr. See, Dr. King will be remembered for a lot of things and for myriad accomplishments and for his legacy of using nonviolent protests and civil disobedience to bring about political change and social justice. Today, freedom for many living in the United States of America is under attack. The current Trump administration in the White House has targeted both the Civil Rights Act of 1964 and the Voting Rights Act of 1965. They are under fire. Nefarious forces aim at rolling back rights that generations of our ancestors dedicated their lives and their efforts to achieve. They spilled their blood, sweat, and tears on many of our streets in our cities. This is why in many areas of the South today, the redistricting of voting blacks is designed by administration and other political officials to deny blacks voting rights and representation. As a little boy living in 1969 Nashville, Tennessee, I don't remember too much about the struggle of my parents and my grandparents. I was too young to realize that they were fighting for equal justice in the court systems, for equal treatment in society and in the workplace, and for opportunities for education and medical treatment. I did not know. I was too young to realize. I was a child in the 3rd grade in a city that was only 1 year removed from the assassination in Memphis, 50 miles away, where Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was brutally assassinated as he stood on the hotel balcony that evening. I was a little boy, and I remembered that there was loud talk in my home where the adults were having discussions, debates, disputes about how to go about living the American dream, but the struggle, the daily struggle, living their lives, they were weighing their options. They were making decisions about the course of their lives, and there were jamborees in the city of Nashville and surrounding areas. Jamborees, big celebrations of community activism, where beautiful black people, some militant leaning, with glorious afros, dashikis, and powerful songs and speeches, as they sought to engage the community in protests and other targeted forms of organized resistance against systemic oppression and racial discrimination. Some, like my dad, elected to join the military, while others, like the famous boxer called Cassius Clay, he refused the draft, and he was summarily sentenced to jail. But he never actually spent time in jail because his lawyers appealed the sentence, and while it was on appeal, Muhammad Ali was out and about speaking against the Vietnam War. Yes, he was. And eventually the Supreme Court struck down the charges and set him free. Yeah, but I was a little boy in a desegregated classroom at Haynes Elementary School in Nashville, Tennessee. I did not understand anything about what civil rights was, what that struggle was about. I did not understand that my parents were fighting for their lives. My brothers and I, we were busy learning how to ride bicycles, learning how to play sports, baseball, basketball, and soccer. We were learning how to navigate our way about making peace with the poor white kids that lived in our neighborhood. And we were learning how to use our BB guns in a responsible manner. We were about the business of childlike responsibilities and challenges. Fast forward to 1980 in Belize City, where I experienced for the first time being tear-gassed. Yes, I was at a political rally that morphed into some sort of a riot and a protest, and I remember running with acid in my throat and burning sensation in my eyes as the Belize Defense Force used chemical agents to disperse our protest. Yes, I have only lived 18 years of my 65 years of my life outside of the United States. That means I've spent 47 years in the borders of the United States of America. I've lived here as a black man, trying to realize the vision and the dream of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. He saw a society where all men, all women are created equal, where all are free regardless of religion, regardless of race, sexual orientation, or political affiliation. In 1986, the INS, Immigration Naturalization Service, implemented something that was called an amnesty program. Yes, it was a way, a path to citizenship for undocumented individuals like myself. We could qualify for a green card for permanent residency status and eventually a path to full citizenship. My mother, my brother, and I, we signed up for this amnesty application. We signed up for the opportunity, and with the help of the local Catholic Diocese of Los Angeles, under the direction of Roger Mahoney, Cardinal Roger Mahoney, we signed up. We did not go to the lawyers. We got in line at these different office buildings. Thousands of Latinos, mostly Mexicans, were in line where we live, for we lived in Boyle Heights. And Boyle Heights is a city in Los Angeles right next to a larger city that is famously known as East LA. It is a bastion of kingdom of Mexicans, of people who have relocated from Mexico. And there they were, and we were the only black faces among all these Latinos. However, we joined hands and became one in the quest to seize this amazing opportunity of the American dream to become citizens of this great country. Fast forward to 1995, at the Los Angeles Convention Center in downtown Los Angeles, right next to the Staples Center. It is now called a crypto arena, I understand. But it was a spring day in March in 1995 that I, early in the late morning, about 11 o'clock, I attended a ceremony. One of many ceremonies that day, to be officially sworn in as a new citizen of the United States of America. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, I received a certificate of naturalization. It was a defining moment in my life. It was a change that I will ever remember, because it changed my perspective, it changed my aspiration, it changed my definition, it changed my identity. And my mother, she received her certificate of naturalization at the famed Parker Center on North Los Angeles streets a few weeks later. And the building, Parker Center, does not exist anymore. It has since been demolished, but it was famous under Chief Darrell Gates. And I was a young minister in Los Angeles around that time, and I remember going every Saturday night to the Parker Center with my group of believers. We were a band of Christians going down to the jailhouse so we could sing songs, gospel songs, to the prisoners who elected to come to the canteen to worship with us. Desperate men we regarded them as, so we sang songs of hope to them and presented the gospel, hoping that it would save their lives and change their direction, their trajectory in life, so that when they were able to get out of jail, of prison, that they would have a new direction, a new life, a new spirit, a born-again disposition. My brother, too, would become a citizen of the United States at a separate ceremony, at a separate site a few months later. Today, however, in the city of Minneapolis in Minnesota, there are many immigrants who are on the same path to citizenship as I and my brother and my mother was so many years ago. But these immigrants today, many are being denied access to their immigration appointments with their officials and their court dates. They are being barred from going to see judges and the lawyers and the cases that are on the docket. And they are being summarily snatched up and disappeared without due process, sent back to Somalia, to Venezuela, and beyond, and many to places unknown. In 1983, in Huntsville, Alabama, at a HBCU, a historically black College and University, then known as Oakwood College. I was privileged to stage a one-man 7-day hunger strike and protest against subpar living conditions and accommodations in the men's dormitory at a place called Edwards Hall on the campus grounds. I am not here to discuss the success or failure or subsequent ramifications of my one-man protest movement. However, I only bring up that event and that incident to show that I was not afraid to participate in the process. So when people take to the streets and rally and march and raise their voices against abuses and injustice, they have my support. They also have the support of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., for this was the process that Dr. King championed and endorsed. As Americans, we must activate. We must get up in our communities, in our neighborhoods, or cities, or counties, or our states, and the world. We must rise up. We must rise up against the forces that seek to oppress and enslave. The murder of Renee Good in Minneapolis, Minnesota by an unhinged ICE officer represents the coordinated, oppressive, and intentional actions of a hostile white administration who is bent on denying black and brown people, Africans, and third world peoples their access to becoming U.S. citizens and the dream that Dr. King envisioned. In the United States of America, the Trump administration has become the bully in world affairs. We have currently invaded Venezuela, threatened Colombia, Cuba, Canada, Greenland, Iran, and the European Union, and the NATO alliance itself. We have used tariffs to target those countries who will not go along with our evil plan, who will not endorse our aspirations of grandeur and self-entitlement to use might as right, to flex military force to get access to the mineral wealth of other countries, and to invade and deprive and rape them of their independent sovereign territories. At the same time, America is supportive of Russia and Russia's unlawful invasion and war against the people of Ukraine. How has this happened? How has America lost its way? Even in the middle of winter, Russia has decided to bomb every power plant in Ukraine so that its people will be without power, without access to electricity, to heat, in the face of our sub-freezing temperatures. How did that happen? So let freedom ring. So let freedom ring from the snow-capped mountains of the Sierra Nevadas in Northern California. Let freedom ring from the San Bernardino Mountains and summits of Big Bear and Lake Arrowhead. Let freedom ring from the shores of Long Beach and San Pedro and Seal Beach. Let freedom ring from the inland empire cities of Rancho Cucamonga, Rialto, Corona, and Loma Linda. Let freedom ring from the many higher institutions of learning in our vicinity. Let freedom ring, and from the churches and our social health service buildings. Let freedom ring, and from our medical centers. Let freedom ring. And when we let freedom ring, we will get ever closer to Dr. King's dream, where we can all finally be free at last. Free at last. Free at last. Thank God Almighty, we are free at last.